All right, let's look at the pathophysiology of massive hemorrhaging. Pathos means disease, physiology is function, so we're going to look at what happens physiologically when you're hemorrhaging. So you're going to lose three things when you're hemorrhaging. You're going to lose blood volume, you're going to lose the ability to carry oxygen because you're losing red blood cells, and you're losing heat. Let's look at losing blood volume first, okay? So here's the normal equation. Heart rate times stroke volume times resistance is equal to a blood pressure of 120/80, okay? So in massive trauma, if we have massive blood loss, the immediate effect is we're going to drop the stroke volume, okay? Because the heart doesn't have enough blood to pump around. So immediately the heart rate's going to stay the same and the resistance is going to stay the same. So if the stroke volume drops into the basement, so will the blood pressure because they're directly proportional, remember. Okay? Well, within seconds, the body's going to compensate for that. So the body's going to jack up the heart rate and jack up resistance, and it's going to compensate for the stroke volume that's in the basement. So if we have high, low, high, and you multiply them together, you should end up with a decent blood pressure of 120/80. Okay, bear in mind that in order to jack up the heart rate, you need to target beta-1 receptors in the heart muscle. To jack up resistance, you need to target alpha-1 receptors in the peripheral vasculature. You need to vasoconstrict and shunt blood to the core. Okay, both of those require ATP because you're asking muscles to contract and relax more frequently. So both of those require a lot more ATP, which means that we're going to need to perform a lot more cellular respiration, which means we're going to be using a lot more glucose and using a lot more oxygen. Okay, we'll get into that next. So the treatment, if we look at just blood volume, just this, the treatment is to stop external bleeding, and we know how to do that, okay, especially if it's extremities. Another thing we can do is blood transfusion. The patient's losing blood, the treatment for that is to give them blood back, okay? The thing that's really going to save a trauma patient is an operation. They need to be in the operating room. They need to have a surgeon performing surgery on them. So this is the most important aspect. Yes, we need to stop the bleeding. Yes, we need to give them blood. They need an operation. That is key.